for giving me this opportunity, and in particular, Professor Atmaram Pawar sir, as well as Dr. Hemant Jain sir. So topic as indicated is multidisciplinary education and research orientation. And now that NEP 2020 National Education Policy is in limelight, this topic is much more important. And we need to understand how actually in our pharmaceutical curriculum, we can inculcate these disciplines. So this is the institute. Luckily, I am at ICT Mumbai, where we already have many multidisciplinary programs running. Even in pharmacy at third year and final year level, we give electives to the students and they can select it from other branches core subjects. So if someone is interested in dye manufacturing, they can take program in dyes, or someone is interested in project economics, they can take the program which is offered by our own Vice Chancellor, Professor Anirudh Pandit. So of course, idea of putting this is that, yes, this is at Mumbai, but now we do have two more campuses. One in Odisha, Bhubaneswar, and another ICT is in Jalna, Aurangabad. And the program structure of the newer ICTs is absolutely multidisciplinary. In fact, the Odisha campus offers major chemical engineering and minor in foods or pharma or textiles, so on and so forth. So any of the technology branches are coupled with chemical engineering. So it is an integrated course. Those of you who are interested, please go through ICT website. I would like to start with what our own Nobel laureate, Rabindranath Tagore ji said. And I'm sure this is in line with Vasudevam Kutumbakam. So basically what we are trying to say is universe is a family. The highest education is that which does not merely give us information, but makes our life in harmony with all existence. So we as pharmacists not only have to think about human beings, but also about everything and every one which surrounds us. So that is a message which is being given by Tagore. Now we need to mold future global citizens. And how can we do that? That can be done only if we are able to dissolve any cultural, religious, ethnic, or other differences which exist. So we need to make individuals absolutely holistic scientists when we are giving them education. They should have deep knowledge of global issues. You would agree with me that even after so many years after independence, not everyone has a house to stay of their own. We do not get clean water, clean air. So they are the prime issues which need to be solved, and they still prevail. So obviously we need to sensitize our students towards this. We need to develop their cognitive skills. So they should be able to think really in an analytical fashion. So rather than, we've been saying, and now AICT in fact is taking a lot of efforts to see that we do not promote rote learning. And majorly, whatever we teach students, they are able to clear their basics and move to a level next to be able to solve different problems. So that is the critical thinking. Non-cognitive skills also need to be developed. So they again have to be empathetic. They should be able to resolve any conflicts if there are. And obviously we need to make them good scientists, but also improve their communication skills so that they can make their name globally, not locally. As also their collaborative efforts their ability to think, speak, act responsibility, all has to increase. And who will do this? Actually, in pharma curriculum, you'll see that for about 8 hours, students are in institutes or in colleges. So at least it is our responsibility that during 8 hours, we try and make them holistic scientists. So obviously, they'll have brighter tomorrow only if they are taught core acats, but along with that, we develop their emotional skills, the critical thinking skills, and as I said in the earlier slide, conflict resolution skill. We help them in molding their character. We bring them on correct path if they have gone astray. We develop social skills, manners, and obviously give them hands-on lessons. So as Sir Albert Einstein said, education is what remains after one has forgotten what one has learned in school. These students who are our future would not remember teachers for what they taught them. That will occupy a small percentage. But how they treated them and how they helped them grow in all ways is what they will remember lifetime. So we need to treat them as our family members and see that whatever we would like to give to our wards, sons or daughters, same information, same character building exercises, same kind of teamwork is taught to them too. For this, we need to develop multiple intelligence. And that's why we are now talking about multidisciplinary approaches in education and research. What is meant by that? We need to develop their left brain, but we cannot neglect their right brain. So all of us, yes, we have our syllabi. We are teaching them all the curriculum related aspects. At the same time, can we develop their persona? Can we influence them and teach them interpersonal skills? Can we actually teach them how to keep their mind calm so that they can imbibe more and more information which is provided to them? And of course, the creativity part. And this teachers, if they themselves do not do, how will they pass it on to students? So it's my earnest request, if you do not have some hobby, please inculcate that now. And you will see that if you're spending some time for your hobby, your energy level at least grow 4 times on daily basis. And this I'm telling you by experience. So culture in higher education has to be what is indicated in this slide. So we are talking about, the science, technology, engineering, maths people, but they need to be good in languages. Scientific communication is something which needs to be taught to them. And that's why you would have seen, again, programs like Avsar have come, wherein you are writing the research problem undertaken in simple words so that general public can understand it. So that is something which is taught to them in first or second years. So can our librarians, rather than just issuing the books and overall supervising, cannot help them understand applied linguistics, graphics? For many of the research publications now, in fact, for almost all journals are asking for graphical abstract. And what people try and put there is whatever figures they have got from the results. Actually, that is not what is graphical abstract. It is that by having one look at that abstract, can the person who is also not from that field understand what you're trying to do? So if your creativity increases, definitely you would be able to put it in a right format. And believe me, many times that becomes a plus point for your paper to get accepted. We need to build resources in local languages. And nowadays, almost on a daily basis, from ICT Vice Chancellor, we get many mails which actually are forwarded from AICT, and they are taking all the efforts to see that NEP is actually implemented in totality. So one important thing where I know Dr. Atmaram Pawar is working a lot, and people like Manjari Bharat and others from pharma fraternity are doing their own bit. That is developing resources in local languages. If students cannot understand whatever you're teaching in English, can they refer to some text matter in local language so that their basics are clear? Believe me, in ICT, 90% of the faculty has studied in local language in their primary years of education. And it has been now proven that if you are studying in that language, your understanding is much better and overall you can perform better. I'm no exception. I've studied in Hindi medium school. So it is important that resources in local languages are built. And in fact, some monetary benefits also AICT is giving if you are making efforts in this direction. You should be able to convey scientific advances to general public, develop sustainable solution. This is one area which needs a lot of attention. Can we start with waste material, utilize it to give a product which will have absolute utility value, and after that, when it is dumped, say, in environment is not polluted. One example would be, can we come up with packaging material, say for cosmetic products, which after the cosmetic preparation is used, just dissolves in the soil. It's biodegradable, and we have natural wealth. India has natural wealth, which is unimaginable, unexplored, having a lot of potential. So such are the sustainable solutions which industry is seeking and coming to us. So please work towards any such solutions which will help in a long run humanity. So our grandkids and their kids will not blame us for what we have left for them. Integrate multiple scientific disciplines. We'll take this in detail, much detail. Obviously, at the same time, create mental health awareness. It's very, very important. And I believe that every Saturday, now in fact, even our curriculum has it, can we not give them some yoga sessions? Can be done. So that we create a better workplace, better work-life balance, better place for everyone in general. So education and research, you would see these terms interchangeably being used. Multidisciplinary, interdisciplinary, transdisciplinary. All of these indicate more than one discipline coming together. Now, it could be within pharma, for example, pharmacology people working along with pharmaceutics people, or it could be, say, chemical engineering working with pharma, or it could be some arts people who actually design, say, a transwell, and engineering people change it into reality by fabricating it. And then we use it for testing. So it is transdisciplinary, across disciplines. All of this is already being practiced. Some examples I'll take. For example, Singapore University, NTU as it is known, Nanyang Technological University, you'll see that they do have courses which are developed by faculty of diverse backgrounds. They do adopt to flipped classroom and collaborative learning. Main content of the main course is provided to them beforehand so that they read that and come. That's for self-study. So what is done in classes? Classes, it's majorly discussion. Are we doing the same? In fact, I had chance to visit University of Bradford. And what I saw there actually astonished. Their classrooms are not where you have benches which are facing the teacher and unidirectional flow of information, but they are round tables with all the accessories given to them, be it PC, say laptop, could be mobile, anything and everything is made available to them. And how are the lectures taken? Chemistry person will come talk about the chemistry of a particular class of drug. Pharmacologist will come talk about the pharmacology part. Then the pharmaceutics person comes and talks about what kind of formulations are available in that field. Then the analytical person will come and say, how are they analyzed? This way, I'm sure no student can forget what is being taught to them. We are a little further away, in fact, from that. But definitely in classes, we can promote interaction at all levels. So you can engage the students in best of ways. So you can see here what NTU has. It has 4 courses which focus on transferable skills. For example, inquiry and communication, digital world, ethics and civics, entrepreneurial development, and simultaneously, there are 3 courses which focus on global challenges. So science and technology for humanity, sustainability, healthy living and well-being, along with the normal courses. So can we not? In fact, our own culture, if you look at Nalanda and Takshila, people all over the world used to come to us because we offered them all these. Unfortunately, we have forgotten and people in other areas have picked it. Some other courses which I have picked from USA, that's where most of our students, in fact, from ICT also 80% the students go. What am I trying to tell you by giving this? You can see certain universities and some courses which they are offering. In education, how can you be multidisciplinary? Is indicated in this. See this course, MS in Human Genetics, which talks about total biology and genetic counseling. That's psychology. Left and right brain balanced. Integrated pharmaceutical medicine. Pharmacotherapeutic outcome research. Again here, pharma knowledge is given, but you are focusing on the social aspects. So such many courses exist. It's time that we in pharmaceutical education also think of how we can promote such multidisciplinary education in India. We cannot make all the people who are coming to us fit for industry. You will see that some of them have leadership skill. They would like to go in making policies. Can't we train them that way? And there'll be some who would want to start their own enterprise. So why are we not teaching them the commerce aspect? I remember 40 years back, that was part of our first year syllabus. English was part of our first year syllabus. They say life goes in full circle. Are we going back? We have to, if we feel that we are not doing justice. What better example can be given than nanotechnology, which is a very, very rapidly growing field of STEM? You can see that material sciences, molecular biologists, mathematics people, computer science people, physicists, chemists, mechanical and electrical engineers, all are working in this area. It's time that common problems are identified and people from different backgrounds are brought together. That's already happening. You'd have heard about mRNA vaccine, which came into picture, where for COVID-19, it started with pathogen identification. So epidemiologists and virologists, they identified pathogen. Screening part was done. Omics, imaging groups, genetics group came together. Vaccine development was done, of course. Formulation scientists, biomedicine and molecular biology branches came into picture. And again, for COVID-19, diagnosis also had to be done. So clinical medicine and pharmacy came into picture. So regardless of domain, I would say, effective integration of diverse disciplines, incorporating perspectives of academia, industry, government, everyone together, and then rapid translation of these discoveries to clinics is essential. And once we do that, obviously we are entering into the next era of biomedical research. All of you are aware, from small molecules, slowly we are moving to biomolecules. How much training do we give our own students regarding these? Namesake, practical training at B.Pharm level, hardly anything. So it's time that we change our curricula and see that we train our students for better tomorrow. Look at these. It's not that I've devised these. It's my reading habits which help me. So upcoming specializations. Have you heard of the terminology cliodynamics? This combines history and other social sciences with maths and statistics. So it can give accurate prediction of future trends. Many of you were putting WhatsApp status messages about COVID increasing, decreasing. How was it possible? Someone has to predict it. So someone should know what are the trends, and then statisticians will analyze it. Then you do have behavioral finance as a specialization. I'm sure all of you know about behavioral sciences. But imagine behavioral economics, which will have psychology along with economics, finance, accountancy, maths. Things are changing too rapidly. Now look at these. Genetics, all of you have heard, but genetics law. So one can get a LLB qualification, having specialization in genetic law. We are still stuck at IPR and we know nothing beyond that. But why can't we have such things? I know of many pharmacy teachers also who have done LLB. So that means if people have interest, they definitely can fight in the court of law. In fact, there are many industries who come to us and they say, since you are skilled in the art, will you fight this case for us that already it is there in the domain, the general domain? and the company X is claiming it is novel. All that you can do if you have some knowledge about the courtroom. Cognitive sciences, I've already said, very highly in demand, in fact, this course. And we know that the way things are going on, the population which needs help with respect to mental health is going to increase. So we need to cater to this branch. And then you have molecular gastronomy. It is a sub-discipline of food science. But don't you think this will be applicable to pharmaceutical science too? Can we make candy floss as a dosage form for kids? Or can it be chocolates, which they like, rather than giving them the adult dosage forms? So that can happen if we understand the psychology of kids and understand art and science of flavors which they like, to come up with formulations which would be useful for them. So here, maybe this is a question to you all who are listening. I really do not know. Can you think of one change which you would like to see in pharmacy education in India? We know all are bound by PCI, but PCI actually in actuality was supposed to give only guidelines and not the whole syllabus. Now that they have given, are you restricted by that? Can you not offer anything additional to your own students which can help them get edge over all others? So can I hear from one or two in the audience? What change would you like to see in pharmacy education in India? Please unmute yourself. Is that allowed by the organizers?
Yes, madam.
Can people unmute themselves and talk?
Yeah, dear participants, this is the interactive session. So please unmute and interact. Madam has given the opportunity, so you should get the advantage of it. This is a valuable talk. Multidisciplinary approach, because many of the pharmaceutical teachers are having doubt. So please interact with the madam.
I will leave you with this question.
Good morning.
Yes.
Good afternoon, ma'am. Myself, Deepika.
Yes, Deepika.
Ma'am, actually, I want to ask you that everybody is telling that whatever we are studying in our books, textbooks, it is actually very older data, and the things which is going on industry today is very advanced. Okay. So I think there should be some bridge between this textbook knowledge and whatever going in industry today, that knowledge. Okay. Whatever gap is there between, because industry is telling that whatever your students coming with the knowledge is not sufficient, and they are not properly trained. Okay, they're not properly trained to directly work in industry. Okay, so to come in, I think that there should be one change, that such type of a training, that whatever going in industry, the such training should be given to faculty members, so that they should communicate it to the student, that what really actually going in the industry area.
Excellent, Deepika. In fact, very good thing she's brought in, that you need to bridge. And specifically, we have seen that with respect to machinery, basics will not change. But pharmaceutical machinery evolves, and no good knowledge or no book is available on the rapid advances which are taking in that place. But you'll be glad to hear and maybe Deepika, you know that PCI has taken that lead and they are sending faculty to pharmaceutical industries. So is it that we need to wait for some authority to take that action? Can we not take that lead and as teachers approach industry in whatever we want to learn, whatever be your field, learn and then pass it on to your students? Deepika, please mute yourself.
Yes, ma'am, I'm listening.
Can you mute yourself? Yeah. This is another one which I have put it for you. Which reforms can support the educational opportunities for physically challenged communities? Have you given a thought? How many colleges exist where before admission, students are tested whether they are colorblind or not? ICT does that. Because if they are colorblind, Pharma, they will have issues. Dyes, they would have issues. But there are certain other fields where they can perform better. So you can always guide them. Similarly, for physically challenged communities, what reforms you can give? No, not all. Again, not all can have supervisory capacity, right? They can do desk job. So can you train them with respect to IPR? If they are good, they are very creative. Can you train them to design leaflets? Can they not design cartons, packaging materials? Have we thought about that as a branch? Have we told our students that something like that exists? Think about such challenges and write. It is my earnest request, that you please do convey to your higher authorities as well as the regulatory bodies so that something can be done here. Another important question is, how do you fairly gauge the candidates with diverse interests? 5 fingers are not same. Same is the case with students. No 2 students are same. So are you gauging them with 1 yardstick? That is something which we need to really dissolve. In a class, you know that there are below average people, average, and there may be 1 or 2 very highly above average. So how do you take classes? First class, when I take, you can, by asking questions, you can judge 2-3 classes and you will know which student stands where. Does that mean that you make group of weaklings and give them remedial classes? That can be done, but that's not the only thing be done. Why? Because these people, when they are grouped together and they are asked to come for remedial classes, somewhere in their mind you have sowed that they are no good. So what has to be done is make groups where you have below average people and highly above average people and some who are in between. Make such groups and give them group exercises. That whatever is the thinking pattern of people who are good is really captured by these students. We need to go an extra mile if we need to pull them up. Rather, what is being done, which I have seen, and it is something which I'm ashamed of, is teachers just giving marks to push the students. Just to see that your college results are good. Is that the way? You have failed miserably, dear teachers, if you are doing that. Think of novel ways, and that's the reason why government thought of NEP. These people cannot probably understand one particular subject. Suppose if they are weaklings in maths, can we not give them other options? Or if they are really scared of chemistry, can they not be given other options? So holistic development is the key, and that has to be done. By doing that, you need to keep in mind what is the student's perspective. Take regular feedback and action. College authorities may be taking feedback and action, but you as a teacher, are you taking regular feedback? Are they understanding what you are trying to give them? Is your speed okay, or you should go fast, or you should go slow? Are you giving only textbook material to them, or giving much more than that? And that much more is not too much more too, needs to be considered. So this is very important. And believe me, once you start doing this and take it in constructive manner, even if it is a criticism coming from students, you would improve. Be truthful to yourself always, and you'll see they do come up with good suggestions. Maybe your PowerPoint presentations are no good. And as Deepika said, you're giving age-old things to them. Now, so many YouTube videos on pharmaceutical machinery exist. Do you show it to them in classes? If you cannot take them to pharmaceutical companies, but they can see the videos, and you have to explain the video so that they understand each and every part of it. So that's how we take practicals now. In online mode, still my 4-hour practical goes on for 4 hours. There are people who will finish it in 1 hour, but my 4 hours are my 4 hours. So after giving the theoretical background once again about the formulation, since I'm in pharmaceutics, I take instructions. Say if it is a suspension emulsion, I recap everything. Maybe there some other teacher in theory, some points are missed. So recap them. Then I show them videos which we ourselves have picturized, ingredient by ingredient, step by step, how to manufacture it. After that, we show them the quality control which are done in the lab. And then I show them how will you prepare same preparation on a large scale, and how will you characterize using sophisticated instruments. So if you do this, 4 hours will be short. So in fact, all of you need to put in extra efforts so that they can understand much, much better. So what I'm trying to say is, while you are doing this, do not neglect their parents. You may have your own perspectives. Talk to students. Take parents in confidence. And then they will be able to actually be good decision makers. This is not what should happen, but you should not leave the student confused. We are talking about multidisciplinary, but at the end, they don't know whether they should take biology and physics along with management, or they should take literature and economics along with law.
Vandana Patravale, madam, say.
Dr. Patravale, can you please mute yourself? Coming to NEP, specifically what NEP has mentioned. So in case you have not read it, my earnest request, please read it. But student-centric flexible coursework is what NEP is advocating. So you can give subject combinations, you can offer them skill development courses, you can offer them data analytics, etc., which is in-demand courses. You can give them specialized training in nutraceuticals or cosmeceuticals in case they are interested to go in those branches. But the coursework has to be flexible. Moving forward with multidisciplinary and holistic education, Government of India very clearly has indicated that this will be implemented. There'll be multiple entry and exit options. There will be minor degree in emerging areas. Additional credits would be given. Choice of subjects could be from music, dance, drama. You laugh now. But believe me, this is what is making students attracted to a particular subject. For example, rather than teaching them diluents are lactose having these properties, DCP, these properties, so on and so forth, then the glidins and the binders and the lubricants, what we do is give them as self-study. And then when they come in the class, you play quiz with them. Kaun banega crorepati? Give them incentives, form groups, ask questions. You will see that poorest of the poorest, rather the backbenchers would be taking a lot of interest in this. What I mean by poor is poor in knowledge, but they'll start taking interest. Play with Pictionary. So gamification, use that as an approach to inculcate interest. So avoid one-way traffic is what I'm trying to tell you. Again, NEP says that 4-year program may also lead to a degree with research in this 4-year itself. If student is fast, I told you there'll be above average students, they'll go fast. So what you have given for 8 semesters, they'll complete it in 6. So you can give them research, the 7th and 8th. Can be done. And in fact, what again is said by NEP is you'll have MERUs, which are multidisciplinary education and research universities, which are of the level of IITs, IIMs, etc. How these MERUs will come into picture? Now, suppose I feel that ICT has certain plus points, but some university in Assam has something else. We can come together and form a MERU. Please remember, day is not far when teaching universities will be segregated from research universities. In fact, I remember NMIMS 5 years, maybe 5 to 6 years ago, the dean had asked me, should we segregate teachers who do teaching and teachers who are interested in research? That time my answer was no. But today, you are made to think there may be some who are interested only in routine teaching. They are not interested in research. Why force them doing research? And then there'll be some who are really excellent in research. Give them minimum teaching. Of course, my personal experiences, those who are doing research, when they share their experiences, why teaching, that's the best class. But this is what is going to happen. Even the recruitment process is such which will be on merit, but by taking teachers on merit, not only their academic teaching research credentials would be seen, even what public service they have done is something which will be looked at. So process is going to become tougher and tougher. I'm sure this someone else would be taking. So I will not spend my time on it, but you need to think, how can we ensure a free and fair environment for faculty members to perform well? This is for authorities to answer. Are we giving faculties free and fair environment? Are we forcing them, even in COVID pandemic situation, when they have to actually do online teaching and practicals, to come and sit there 9 to 5, get infected and infect 10 others? Or are we making sure that they are doing their job well, even if they are doing it from home, in confined 4 walls? This is for everyone to think. You can do much more if freedom is given. So what we have at ICT is, we have a smartphone which we need to log in when we are taking lectures and practicals, and end the lecture and practical also by logging in and log off. Our attendance gets recorded. And that attendance, Dean ACAD, VC, even parents of teachers, parents of students can see it. Same way, students' attendance also parents can see. Think about it. My personal experience, more the freedom, of course, there'll be 1 or 2% who will take undue advantage, but most of the teachers would perform excellent. Also, NEP focuses on vocational and professional education. And now we are talking about setting up National Educational Technology Forum. And you've seen now, EdTech implementations already started to provide end-to-end support. So if you are no good, you are out of the system. So your educational information you might be having, but see that on technology also, you are in the front, so that you can combine them and do your best. Why is it that Byju's is earning billions? Think about it. They are taking our graduates, B.Pharm graduates, for teaching. We need to talk about also equitable and inclusive education, which should be extended to socially and economically disadvantaged groups. And I'm sure you are aware about the key differences which are there in the old and new educational structure. So now we are talking about no hard separation of streams. After 10th, people used to think about arts or commerce or science. Now it will be interdisciplinary. Earlier it was 10 plus 2 plus 3. Now it will be 5 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4. Award of degree was after completion of 3 or 4 years. Now multiple exit options are there. You can leave, can do a job, come back. So depending on how much course you have completed, you will either be given a certificate or a diploma. And then you can make an entry pack. Again, we are talking about academic bank of credits. So just like in bank, you deposit money, your credits would be deposited. Of course, government has to work a lot so that no malpractices go on. But we need to give them a hands up if they need to do that. How can quality of education, which is provided in rural and urban areas, can be brought on same levels? Think about it. And in this online day, it is not impossible. Rural India people can also, in fact, engage global speakers. You may say, from where will they get laptops or whatever, mobiles which are necessary? Again, imagine government is working in that direction, and if Wi-Fi is given free to all, this problem also can be solved. And people are working in that direction and could be done sooner. Look at this IIT, School of Interdisciplinary Research already exists. So if you thought it happened only abroad, no, in India too it is happening. This has been founded in October 2017. Aim is to look at emerging discoveries in areas which are critical for solving real-world problems in environment, in our health, in global security. That is the reason you will see that IITians are doing much better than pharmacy education, even in the healthcare. Sorry to say, but that's happening. They are collaborating with AIMS. Now, for example, Delhi IIT, if I take, they are collaborating with All India Institute of Medical Sciences, collaborating with National Institute of Immunology, as also with Jawaharlal Nehru University. So bringing engineering, humanities, measurement, science all together. We also have to think in this direction. I'm happy that Pune College of Pharmacy is located in Vidyanagari. So definitely nothing is impossible for them. Those of you who are not, please think what can be done. This is some ongoing research in these departments. Shape memory polymers. Can you imagine how many fields are coming together? Or someone thinks about it. It may not be the scientist thinking about it, but the polymer scientists make it. Material scientists give the materials which can be used. Machinery engineers, mechanical engineers come in to give the kind of machines which are required, and maybe electrical stimulus has to be given for the shape memory polymers to release the drug. So electrical engineers also work together. Can you see how many branches come together to make these? It could be developing a revenue model for bioinformatics R&D. People were doing genotoxicity earlier on animals. From animals, they shifted to cell lines. And now from cell lines, we are talking about having softwares which can predict whether API or intermediate is genotoxic or not. So can you imagine where we are heading to? This is about Indian Institute of Science. Go to their website. They have already written what are their core research areas. So are they restricted only to science? Because they are Indian Institute of Science, answer is no. You can see here economics, finance, human resource management, public policy. We need to move in the same direction. And one thing which I would like to highlight is how science and arts, which though they look seemingly different, are brought together. And what better example can be given than this? This is by artist Tejaswini Padma. And if you look at this, this is artist bird eye view of a high throughput device for cell culture. You know, if you have cell culture, you need bioreactors. So how those bioreactors could be? If you have different cells, how can you place them? What could be their location? How can they put media from one place to another place? So this is artist's depiction. And taking this as a lead, in fact, they did make a bioreactor, no, hepatic cell. They grew with fibroblastic cells. And this is a published paper, which year? 2015. So why can't we do this? Answer this question. How much is academic freedom important to you? If you feel it is important, are you making the best use of it? If you're making the best use, no one is best. I would say even today, after 30 years, I'm still learning. So educator has to be learner for life. It's not that students are learning. With students, you are learning. So see that you learn more and more. So identify what is it, what motivates you to learn more. And just 2 days back, I wrote to one friend of mine, everything looks routine. It's time that something new is done. So my motivation now is to learn Sanskrit. If I learn Sanskrit, will it benefit me? Answer is yes. I would be able to, of course, learn Vedas. If I learn Vedas, I would know about the traditional remedies which were used. If I know about traditional remedies, I can give them the modern form. So I'm sure ethnopharmacologists, pharmacognosers who are there in the meeting, we have long time we've been talking about reverse pharmacology. How much work have we done in that direction? Again, I read in papers, SPU is doing a lot of work on ashwagandha, but ashwagandha is not only the one herb. There's lots in Western Ghats itself. India is full. Heritage is rich. Please learn more and more. Utilize it in a better fashion. So there are some questions which will persist. Questions like how can we integrate science, arts, commerce? How often the syllabus revision should be done? What kind of infrastructure we have to have? We have to include other streams. What should be the term of involvement? It's not you are restricted to Indian universities. You can have Merus with foreign universities too. So what should be the terms of involvement? Policy makers, please think about this and answer about this. Now moving to the research, where I'll show you some case studies from our own group. And as Madam indicated, we are working in diverse areas, in fact, and these areas only grow. Why? Because students want to work in different areas. I give them full freedom. Why I give them full freedom? Because I feel my philosophy is that I would also learn something new with them. So why do age-old solid dispersions where there's much more to learn? I'm not saying that's a bad field. But if you've learned that, move on to the next one, learn something new. So some case studies where we have used different disciplines. So one first thing which I'll give you, the work which was done by a B.Tech student. Now, undergraduate students in ICT, in computer lab are taught CAD, computer aided drug discovery. They are taught design expert. They are taught Minitab. So they are not taught Excel and Word. And that students can learn on their own. So this particular students, the first way when it started, came up with this study. Problem was, institute was closed. So he used all the free softwares, and you can see how. We started with identification of drug targets. So read information was plenty on the, in fact, all the websites. And, you know, in that period, luckily, all the research papers were available free. And anything which was dealing with COVID was made available free, open access. So we understood what are different targets. We knew that, of course, spike protein is the main target because a lot of papers said that. So from PDB, that's Protein Data Bank, we came up with the protein structure. So for which UCSF chimera was used. And now ligands we were exploring. So here we are looking at T polyphenols. So structure of T polyphenols was also available. We did binding site prediction using AutoSite and did the molecular docking study using Pyrex. Please remember, all of these are free tools. Then we went on to Visualizer and looked at the ligand topology. So using charm force field, these were the conditions which were set. And then we did this docking. And you can see that this particular T polyphenols, ribbons are your protein structure. And this is your T polyphenol. It stays with the ribbon-like structure throughout the experiment which is done, indicating that has very, very strong interaction. So not only that, we found out this paper is now published, in fact, on this. So ECGC, in fact, this is from green tea, and theaflavin digallate, which is from black tea. Both had good activity. Both had very, very high affinity towards spike protein. So they can act as entry inhibitors. So we started educating people, no? Rather than the remedies which were given, even if you're boiling water and putting tea in it and inhaling that, it will act as an entry inhibitor. You can make moisturizing lotions using these and they'll have entry inhibition activity. So imagine if you're applying near the nostrils, it will serve very good entry inhibition purpose. So on and so forth. I mean, I'm not giving you all the options which we actually decided, but this study indicates that yes, you can utilize your medicinal chemistry knowledge because you know the ligand structure, along with your used bioinformatics to come out with a strategy which pharmaceutical people can formulate and pharmacologist people can test. And in between comes cell line studies which were done. Another study which again indicates how simple formulations can be made. So we started here again with homology modeling. This is a natural moiety. Did sitemap analysis, looked at different receptors. did the docking studies, and we were very happy that the moiety which we selected, again, a natural moiety from India, is very, very effective as anti-Alzheimer. Before we wanted to go for animal experiments, we did a simple test wherein we are taking A beta fibrils, treating it with thioflavin T. Test says that this gives a fluorescent moiety on binding. But if my moiety acts on A beta fibrils and breaks it, fluorescent intensity will decrease, and that was seen. But we showed that even by SEM, and you can see here, if plaque is formed, which is responsible for Alzheimer, this is a structure. If you treat it with our moiety, it just disrupts the boundaries. So this was enough proof for taking us forward to formulate. So we formulated microemulsions and mucoadhesive microemulsions, characterized them. So started again with bioinformatics, from leads which we have taken is from Cognosy. Then we have done the testing, some testing, which is formulation related, and then biodistribution and nasal cytotoxicity study, as well as neuronal toxicity studies, which is pharmacology. And by this, I'm giving you example of multidisciplinary research. And imagine when we did this particular pharmacodynamic studies, results were so astounding that we got Gyati Award for this. That is Gandhi Young Technology and Innovation Award, which is given by President of India. Why? Because for the first time we showed that animals who were given this natural moiety as microemulsions are performing as well as donepezil, which is a gold standard. And what happens with donepezil is, over a time period, there are resistance getting developed. Your humans do not respond to donepezil, and plus there are severe toxicities because physicians will go on increasing the dose. So there is the herbal moiety. We have done acute toxicity, genotoxicity, all kinds of toxicity studies, and it is not toxic. This is something which I had to show you. Not only was the formulation effective, you can see that it has led to brain-derived neuronal factor growth. It was a perception, and in many papers, it's indicated that neurons, once they die, they cannot grow. But in this particular studies, you can see that A beta, when it is given, the neurons die. But if these animals are given treatment with VBP, and sorry, I'm not mentioning this because Gyati Award has got 15 lakhs, so scale up is done. Now it will go in the clinical studies. So it has become his moiety now. So we showed that neurons recover. Not only that, the TNF-alpha level in IL-6, both neuroinflammatory cytokines, you can keep under check. And neuroinflammation is cause of many of the brain disorders. So this is another study wherein we have made simple mice cells. Mice cells are self-assembled. You don't need any high pressure homogenization. You don't need high speed homogenization or anything for that matter. So what we did is we did surfactant, in fact, synthesis, and made reverse stigmin mice cells which perform the same manner for Alzheimer. This is another study which is for pulmonary arterial hypertension. In case of pulmonary arterial hypertension, you can see this is how the normal heart is. But if a patient has pulmonary arterial hypertension, you can see thickening of heart vessel muscles happening, because of which the blood doesn't pump. In fact, many of the patients now are suffering with PH. In fact, post-COVID, this is on rise. So what did we do? We have repurposed the drug and we are giving DPI. And we've tried it for a natural moiety. We have also tried it for a synthetic moiety. So natural moiety is resveratrol and the synthetic is erlotinib. Now, erlotinib is known as a cell cycle inhibitor used for other indications, but no one had used it for pulmonary arterial hypertension. So we use that, and you can see that red is what is actually showing smooth muscle cell proliferation, how it can come under control. This is just a graphical abstract to show that it comes under control. So very systematic study was done on this, and we developed DPIs, did all the studies. This model, pharmacodynamic model, was also developed at ICT, rat model. And in fact, we indicated that the DPI formulation really is effective in bringing systolic pressure under control. All kind of histology studies also have been done. So not only we've done erlotinib, I told you resveratrol, and in fact, combination of erlotinib and resveratrol also. So obviously the combination results are still much better. So that is the way forward. Another study is for cancer, wherein we hypothesize that when we'll give NLCs, they'll be taken up through the intestinal lymphatic system. They'll go to the lymph first, and from lymph, they'll go into the blood. This is a little older study, which was shown for tamoxifen. But why I'm trying to show all these studies here, because all of them do involve multidisciplinary approach. If it was not our cell scientists supporting us, or if it was not our pharmacologists supporting us, or the institutes where such kind of histopathological studies are done, we would not have taken this formulation to clinical level. So it is very important that you identify what you need to do, and then identify either your industrial partner or identify your academic partner and take the studies further. Malaria, all of you know, I've been working a lot in this, and we do have a combination of artemether-lumefantrine, first time in world therapy given by IV route, and very, very effective, already transferred to industry. So again, here we worked in collaboration with TIFR, we worked in collaboration with NIRRH, we have worked in collaboration with Industrial House to see that all the stability studies are repeated again. Because one shortcoming at our institutes is that, you know, we do not get impurities, and because of which we are not able to do stability in the way we should be doing. Though we developed our own stability indicating method, industry was not accepting it. So we had to start all over again. So what we have shown that this particular formulation not only is effective for P. vivax or P. falciparum, it's also effective for cerebral malaria. And of course, these slides will indicate it's a very, very selective uptake. You can see the normal RBCs here. We do not have granular mass because there's no parasite in, unlike these. So you'll see that when I start video, the red colored NLCs, rhodamine labeled NLCs, they go only wherever there are infected RBCs. So we already looked and published a paper on mechanism of it. Not only that, you can see the marketed group of artesunate, which is there for cerebral malaria, it is not effective. After total treatment also, the animals do not recover. You can see that by their gait, plus their rectal temperature actually is very high. All their organs fail actually over a period of time. Whereas what we developed, these animals were very, very active after artemether-lumefantrine was given, totally curing cerebral malaria. And in cerebral malaria, what happens is vessels become hardened, blood vessels become hardened, because of which, in fact, coma, and then the patients die. But in this case, you can see that means they have regained plasticity. And therefore, they are very, very effective. And of course, the last study is where we have looked at many of the potential herbal moieties again, which act as entry inhibitors for HIV. And many such papers are actually under communication. 1 or 2 have got published, but we've looked at variety of combinations, either only synthetic or synthetic with herbal. Idea is that our platform, which is there, the NLC platform itself, it has potential activity. So you put anything in that, M-lipid, as I'm indicating here. M-lipid itself has potency. So you put any of the anti-HIV drugs in it, it is going to give you action. So studies have been done of variety of types, the time of addition assay. We also looked at condom compatibility because we were looking at it as vaginal microbicide too. And where does it go and reside? We have looked and goes to cytoplasm. In fact, post-entry stage. So it's not only entry inhibitor. Now we have gone ahead and shown that it can actually go to even mitochondria. So that means it can act at later stages too. In this case, again, this was a Gyati award where we have looked at combination of P. granatum, C. sinensis, and C. longa and made a gel which is as effective as synthetic moieties. Imagine not having any effect on lactobacilli, which otherwise most of the formulations have. So you know that it is required for protective action, condom compatible, has in addition spermicidal activity. So in case the sex workers would like to use it, they will have definitely advantage from anti-HIV potential, plus it is spermicidal. And this is the last one, wherein we have made a device, which is, in fact, 8 such devices in market now. Some of you would have seen this particular video, so I'm just moving in interest of time. What we have done is taken this particular technology to preclinical level, which has to be done in animals. And we have shown that it is compatible with all the type of blood cells. And we have done the biocompatibility studies with respect to leukocyte adhesion as well as platelet adhesion. So you can see multiple groups involved here. And this particular device starts with mechanical engineers. There are laser machines which are used for cutting. So you do have scientists which are expert in that. You have material scientists, you have polymer people, you have formulator scientists like us who decide how much drug to load, how much polymer to load, and so on. And then this is done in animals, which is porcine artery. And you need to see the late loss. It has to be near 0. There should not be a gain narrowing of blood vessels, and that is prevented here. And this was the first drug-eluting stent which came from this company in 1997. We started, 2005 it came in market. And as I told you, now we have many such things which have been introduced. So in this case, we have also done human studies, in fact, and randomization was done. Infinium is paclitaxel coated, supralimus is sirolimus coated, and Millennium Matrix is only bare metallic stent. So in all the cases, the drug-eluting stents have given better protection. And clinical evaluation, if you see, even after 3 years, target vessel revascularization is much, much better than bare metallic stents, wherever you have drug-eluting stents. And Texco study, which actually looks at OCT, that's optical coherence tomography images, also has indicated that the results are excellent when you compare it with marketed Zyme which is from Abbott. So it is non-inferior to Abbott stent. So totally indigenous technology, which we have done the transfer, and it is absolutely, in fact, now results are coming which are showing it's better than Zyme. And after this, we have moved to balloon coating, and the results of balloon coating are also excellent. So you can have stents or you can have balloon to treat coronary diseases. Both are being used. So we have answers for both of them. These are some of the technologies which have got transferred, and group with which I'm involved is Surgeon and Medical Technology. This is another collaboration which we did during COVID time, wherein we have made a formulation for horses. So, and that too, imagine we could not do any work at ICT. So I identified our own student who was in Ireland, finished just master's. So he went to this particular company, and I used to give advice from here every night after 12. And then he used to work. And record time, 3 months, we developed this particular formulation, which is free of antibiotic, but work as antibiotic. So basically, it contains probiotic, and major need for these foals is that they do have diarrhea, which needs to be tackled. So this particular product has come in the market already. It is being sold in Middle East. Now maybe in next 2 years, it will enter many other markets. Their first target is always, though it is developed in Ireland, but first target is Middle East, and then it goes to other countries. So we are hopeful that this will be very useful complementary feed to maintain normal gut motility in foals and horses. Now you may say multidisciplinary. Now we have to understand what is their physiology. How do they behave? How do they digest? And then formulators definitely can formulate. My earnest belief is can formulate anything, or be it for agriculture, or be it for veterinary, be it for cosmetics, or anything else. So this particular product, key features are its non-antibiotic formulation. Restores the gut microbiota, rehydrates, restores, and also absorbs gut endotoxins. You'll be surprised, we've used age-old methodology, which is there even in Cooper and Gunn, but long forgotten. I'm sure those who are smart enough will understand what we have used. So these are some of our technology transfers using multidisciplinary approach. And we do have a Skin Easy Active Gel, which is India's first anti-chaffing gel. This vaccine is already in clinical 3 trials. These are nano-based vitamin D3 soft gel caps. And you know, during COVID, their utility has increased many-fold. And curcumin already we have put in the market again, which is given with each of the cancer therapy as a supplementary therapy. So this all would not have been possible if it was not for our collaborators, be it from government, other academia, or be it for industry. So we are thankful to each one of them. With that, I think I will close my talk, and I'll be free to take any questions. My sincere thanks to our family, BBP research team, who even in COVID times really have worked very hard. 12th to 17th of Jan, our institute was totally closed, but 2 students got special permission to work in ICT, and they were from our lab. Why? Because they are working on COVID-related vaccine and diagnosis. So with that, I would like to thank once again Pune College of Pharmacy for giving me this opportunity. And I suppose I've given you some hints as to how to go about doing multidisciplinary education as well as research. Thank you.
Thank you, madam. Thank you so much for elaborating on an enormous volume of work that you have done and presented. Any questions to madam? Participants can feel free to ask any doubts or questions to madam.
Oh, so actually, I can say not a question, but with examples at global level, how practical it is possible, because all Indians, in the morning when I delivered lecture, many questions come, how it is possible in India, likewise. But with proof it is given by madam that in different university, how things are happening, how the new courses are coming, correct. So it is a really, the things are not new to the globe, it is new to the India. And the experts like Patravale madam will help to implementation, for proper implementation of NEP in India. And definitely such many lectures will be required. First to make a mindset. Now confusion in the mindset only. So day will come that the things will come in a reality. And for that, I'm thankful on behalf of Bharati Vidyapit PCP for madam. Thank you, madam.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yes, I would just like to add, as always, it is, interesting to listen to Vandana. How many ever times we have, heard about her, that all those tech transfer, products and all those things. But every time there is some new aspect that she puts forth. And that is the really interesting part. And the initial aspect also regarding NEP and research, multidisciplinary, everything was so interesting and impeccable. And the slides were, it was a visual treat also, as always, I would say. So really, thank you, Vandana, for that informative talk. Just I would like to add that, yes, you mentioned about IITs having interdisciplinaries and we too have to go in that direction. Regarding, I would just, as an information, I will like to add here that our university, that is Bharati Vidyapit Deemed University, also has a faculty of interdisciplinary studies, and this was started around 5 years back already. And we do, take the PhD research scholars under that faculty who are doing interdisciplinary work, which involves environmental law, engineering, pharmacy, sciences, basic sciences. So yes, certainly that is going to be the future, because many of us would really get interested in all these, interfacial areas, and that is where I think where we need to break the boundaries and get across, because that is what is going to lead to more innovation actually. So my talk is, I thank you, Vandana, because you have set the platform for my talk. And I think I can, wind up my talk in half an hour instead of, making it an extended one, because you have set the right background. And it was really very interesting to listen to you as always. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. And it is great. Now, next time when I present this, one more slide will get added. Thanks for that. I can highlight your Bharati Vidyapit's interdisciplinary program too. Thank you.
Thank you, madam. The session of Dr. Vandana Patravale is always thought-provoking and interesting to attend. Today, she has enlightened us on various aspects, including molding future global citizens by targeting various aspects of knowledge, skills, behavioral capacities, and character building. She has highlighted on need of inter and multidisciplinary approaches in higher education. She has brought to the forum upcoming fields of education like behavioral sciences, genetic laws, cognitive science, and molecular gastronomy. We are astounded to hear about these fields, madam. She has also elaborated on the need of inclusive education, changes and reforms to be done in the pharma education, the new education policy 2020, which include student-centric flexible courses, holistic multidisciplinary education with higher educational institutions restructuring based on purpose. Apart from this, she has also highlighted on many of her research works, including the targeting of COVID with T polyphenols, Alzheimer's, an extensive work in Alzheimer's disease, pulmonary artery hypertension, cancer research, malaria, HIV, drug targeting for these, and drug-eluting stents. Madam, next time I have a feeling that we can have one FDP with only you as a resource person with individual lectures, so that we can hear and elaborate about all these things for a week, so that we will be exploring our arena of knowledge. So with this talk, you have touched upon all the fields of your research, which had broadened our horizon of knowledge. Thank you so much, madam. On behalf of Bharati Vidyapit, Pune College of Pharmacy, I would request you to accept a digital bouquet and the certificate.
Thank you. Thank you so much. My pleasure.
Yes,
and I don't mind giving one full FDP. I have that much stamina. Don't worry.
Yes, madam. We have seen you in very different forums where you are so much energetic. Really, we are very happy to know that, like you set a target for us, how we are supposed to be at that stage of life. Thank you, madam. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.